Okay. Chapter 2, logic control and looping statements, right? Logic control. So logic control is basically, I mean, it's funny to teach it. Logic control is basically like there is a flow of execution that a program goes through, and if this condition happens or if this thing happens, you need to execute this. If this does not happen, then you do not need to execute it. You need to execute something else, or something else. So you are actually controlling like the flow of the program based on different values or based on different condition. So that's exactly what logic control is used for, to control the flow of code execution. Apex provide conditional statements and loops, which helps us execute the code based on condition or execute the same code repeatedly for n number of times. So in this, we're going to discuss three things: conditional statements, switch statements, and looping statements. Let's talk about conditional statements. There is if statement. If, then in the parenthesis, write down the condition, and then block of code to be executed if condition is true. So even if someone does not know about programming, anything about programming, this is sufficient. Anyone wants me to elaborate this? No? Let's go ahead. Then comes if else statement, right? In this if else statement, what happens is that if this condition is not true, then in that case, execute the other block. And if this condition is true, then execute this block only. And after executing this block, just skip the else part and move on to the program. That's all what happens. When it comes to if else if, it's like if this condition is true, execute this condition. Else, else, if it is not true, then check this condition. If this is true, if this is true, then execute this. If this is also not true, then execute the else part. And if this is true, then execute this part and get out of this complete conditional statement. That's how it goes. Then comes shorthand if. Shorthand if is basically like if you want to write down an if condition, if else condition in a very short way, then there is an operator, ternary operator, question mark and colon. So write down the condition in here. If this condition is true, then this is the expression that will get executed. And if this condition is false, then this is the expression that will get executed. That's what it is. Right? Everyone good with this? Any questions? Anyone? No? Cool. Let's go to looping statements. It's not well documented till now. It'll be like till the time it will be shared with you. While, do while, for, and for each. Right? While. Let's write down the code for while. Like, how do we write down the code for while? While. I'm going to just write down the condition. That's it. So what will be the output of this program? It's gonna print hey for sure for 5 times. How many times then? 5 times. And I mean, if I want to make it 50, then all what I have to do is just write down 50 in here. So instead of writing down system.debug hey 50 times, I can just use the looping statements and execute the same code again and again with different conditions that I want. So that's how while works. Now let's talk about do while. What is the difference between while and do while? So it's like in while the condition gets checked first and then the statement gets executed. In do while, at least one time that program will execute and then after that it will check the condition. So if I want to write down the same thing in while loop, then how I'm going to do that? Or do while loop, how I'm going to do that? And I'll write down the condition in here, which is I is less than 5. Make sure to put a semicolon after this. Many of the people do not do that, and they figure out what is the problem. What is the problem? What is the problem? If you're not going to put a semicolon in here, let me tell you what will happen. it will consider this as as a do statement, that is nothing, and it will consider the statements after this as a while statement or as a while loop. So if you want to make it a do while, make sure to add semicolon after this in every programming language, right? Yeah, and integer I equals to 0, do system.debug hey I plus plus, and while I is less than 5. So it will print how many times? 5 times. 6 times? You sure? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. When it will become 4, it will check and it will go again and it will execute by 5. And 5 is less than 5? No, get out. 5 it is, according to me. Okay, then if I want to write down the same thing into a for loop, then how I'm going to do that? For then the declaration so see, what is the benefit of for loop? You can initialize the value in this, right? And after that you can put the condition in here and you can put the operation whatever you want to do with the variable with which you're playing in loop over here only. So you can write all these three statements at one place. So that's the reason we try to use for loop as much as we can, because in while loop we do not want to see that where the increment is happening, and where the condition is and stuff like that. We just want to keep it at one place. So that's the reason we use for loop as many times as we can or as we could. Is it clear? And then write down that's it, right? So that's about looping statements: do, while, and for. Now there is another type of loop which is for each. Let's talk about that as well. So there is a list of integer. In this list of integer, what I want to do is I want to multiply each value by 2, or I want to double the value, double each of the value which is there in this particular list. So there is one way to write down the code for this using for loop, in which what I'm going to do is integer 0, I is equals to 0, and then I is less than list dot size, and then I plus plus, right? And in this, what I'm going to do is uh, list dot list I is equals to list I into 2. That's it. That's all what I will do. But instead of writing this complete condition just like this, there is another type of loop that we can use, which we call as for each loop, in which what happens is colon, and then write down the iterable iterable collection. That can be a list or that can be a set. It can be a set as well, it can be a list as well. Write down an iterable collection and perform the execution whatever you want to. That's it. So what is happening? Let me explain it to you. With this for each loop, a list is created. There are values inside it. Right? These are the values. So when you write down this for each loop, what happens is the first value gets associated with A, and then the execution happens, and then the value gets doubled up. Then this A gets associated with the second value, and then the operation happens, and then it gets doubled up. Then the value that like this third value gets associated with integer A, and then the operation happens, and then it doubles up the value. That's how it goes. So for each loop, as the name says, iterates onto each value into that iterable collection. That's all what it is. And it's a simpler way or an easier way to execute the operation onto all of the elements which are there in that particular collection. Is that clear, everyone? So we are going to use it most of the time with S objects and with lists and with sets and all sort of stuff. I hope it is clear.